Hey everyone, welcome back. It is the recap show of the Theology of Hip-Hop, sponsored by the Presbyterian Outlook and Shirley Goodness Productions. We're here again.
Yup.
We are coming to you live from the tundra. Nothing has melted. The entire week of school has been canceled. Our kids are homeschooled, so they do call out. They home all the time.
And at school all the time, I
And at
guess.
school all the time. But it has been really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So we hope that this episode finds you warm,
Mm-hmm.
finds you well fed,
Mm-hmm.
finds you safe at home,
Mm-hmm.
and possibly preparing for another round this weekend.
A little bit of snow gonna hit the East Coast once more.
But you know what you can do while you're snowed in?
Talk to 'em.
Listen to this podcast. The Theology of Hip-Hop is a
Hey,
podcast all done by this person here,
thank you.
the Dr. Chris Burton. The BaddestChaplain, and who loves many things, hyphenate, wonderful person, but loves theology and hip hop,
Yeah.
and has found an awesome way to bring the two together in this podcast. So we've had what episode is this?
This, believe it or not, is episode 8.
So there are 7 episodes before this, and this being the 8th episode. If you have not listened to either the 7 before this one or today's episode on Rapsody, then you have time to pause this or come back.
Yeah.
And listen to all the episodes, watch the other
Recap.
recaps, and then come back to this episode. But if you don't want to do that right now,
It's cool.
we're glad to have you.
Yeah, welcome.
Every week after the episode posts online, we chat about the topic, questions, and the creative process in the episode. So this week is Rapsody.
Yeah.
And before every episode, you have a person talk about why they love this artist and the best things about this artist. Tell us about who you invited to speak on this week.
So for this week, we had my brother, the incredible artist, even better person, poet, D'Angelo Dia, talking about Rapsody. It only is right, you know what I mean? You got somebody representing North Carolina, the Tar Heel State, North Cac, all of that. So he just opens up talking about Rhapsody's importance as a great MC in general, but particularly being from North Carolina and bringing that context, maybe from Snow Hill, North Carolina, and bringing that context to the music as well. So, there was a time when rap was super duper regional. It's less so now. So I felt like his intro really gave me sort of like a throwback to that time where people had unique sounds coming out of their area. You could tell that somebody was rapping from Detroit or Oakland or Cleveland or Atlanta or New York or Miami or Houston. You had different flavors from different areas. The internet kind of changed that up a lot, but it's really dope to have had Dia introducing Rhapsody on this episode.
Yeah. So why did you Rhapsody? What about Rhapsody sticks out to you the most?
Rhapsody is dope and she's deep. You know what I mean? And that was something that I thought about just having listened to her for a few years now from when we were living in New York still. So like well over 10 years, believe it or not. That's just a whole nother aspect of how fast time moves. But just I've always respected her pen, the type of rap I appreciate personally, the type of rap that I listen to and really, really appreciate is lyrical. I like rap in a lot of its flavors, but I really appreciate the lyricist especially, and Rhapsody's a top tier lyricist. So she's always had my attention in that regard. And I just was thinking with this the theme that we're doing in terms of like trying to see how God consciousness shows up for each of these artists. I was like, yeah, Rhapsody's gotta have stuff that points to that. And thankfully my hunch was correct.
So I agree. Rhapsody is she the best MC with pen? I don't know. We talked about Lauryn Hill. What was it, last week or the week before?
Yeah, Lauryn Hill was last week. Yep.
So I can definitely hear the influence of Lauryn Hill
Yes,
and her music. Who
absolutely.
else do you hear in her music, and who else do you think inspired her?
I think Jay-Z's a huge influence in her music. I think Jay-Z's a huge influence on her music. I hear Jay, I hear Lauren. I think I hear Wu somewhere in there, just like as a collective. Um, I imagine somewhere like Andre 3000 and Big Boy are influences in there too, just because like the southern aspect of it all. It's hard. You're hard pressed to find a southern rapper who hasn't been influenced by either like Outkast or UGK or Ball and G or somebody like that, Scarface. And so definitely, but I definitely hear the strongest is Lauren and Jay by far.
Yeah. So the one song in here, Cleo,
Hmm.
talking it. I love when music, especially hip hoppers, are talking about it.
Mm.
When a person shows their authenticity. What about this song? Um, the song Cleo sticks out to you.
That she's a person. I think a lot of like it's MCing, right? So MCing traditionally has a very like braggadocio, like this bravado. There's a sense of I am the greatest, I am the best, I'm untouchable, I'm unflappable, I can't be deterred. And in this song, Rhapsody is kind of like, yo, what y'all did and are doing is crazy. Like, I'm a human being. Um, I still love you. I forgive you. Like, this is not something that's gonna like stop my progress or stop me from being a whole person. But I need to let you know that I see you and that I'm not blind to what you got planned or what you've been doing. And I think it's just very, I don't know, it inspires me in the sense of the ways in which you have to deal with conflict and you have to preserve your energy. So you can't waste your time fighting everybody. And you can't waste your time trying to, wake someone who's pretending to be asleep. Right. So if I call you out on what you're doing and you're like, what? No, I'd never. That's a waste of time for both of us. I think Rhapsody deals with this with such class and elegance, and doesn't, you know, stoop to their level, but also doesn't try to, fly above it in a way that can make that person feel like it's okay for them to act like that.
Yeah. So let's talk about that song, Jesus Coming.
Oof,
Um, think about current times.
oof, yeah,
Um, and all that's going on and folks looking for answers,
yeah.
wanting to be active solutions.
Mm.
How do you think this song may speak to people who listen to it today?
I mean, number one, the relevance is terribly frightening. The way that the song opens up with gunshots, right? And so just from then, you kind of know, like, oh man, this is not gonna just be sort of like a calm situation. But it goes into what feels painfully familiar, which is people who were just having a good time a few moments ago, having that wonderful day interrupted by senseless violence. And you get the rapping from the different perspectives, right? Um, rapping from the mother and the daughter, who both were mortally wounded, rapping from the two brothers who, I presume, are like in rival gangs
Mhm.
who mortally wounded each other, and then the soldier who's rapping from the perspective of like, yo, I don't want my kid to just know me from a Purple Heart. Like I want to raise my child, and it made me think about the way all conflict, both local and global, you know, there has to be a better way for us to resolve conflict than just to have violence as an option or as a way to resolve it. It just makes me think about all the ways, when you consider peacemaking, how difficult it is because all the ways we're sort of taught to have bloodlust and taught to say, you know what, if somebody does that, you got to resolve it with violence. Violence is the first option, when in truth, violence should not even be an option at all. And that, I aspire, particularly as someone who's following in the path of Jesus, to be a peacemaker who, helps to create a world where, as Scripture writes, swords are turned into plowshares when the lion can lay down with the Lamb. And so being able to create a reality where people don't even consider violence as an option is something that I'm trying to, do my best, and I encourage others to do their best to push into that reality, especially at a time where it just feels like violence can happen any and everywhere.
Yeah. I'm thinking back on this episode and previous episodes that you recorded and thinking about how people who are probably just coming and joining us today are saying like, "Oh, hip hop's a black music.
Mhm.
I know all about the black music experience."
Yeah.
But then you hear the music of Rapsody, you hear the music of Lauryn Hill, you hear Doechii, you hear Queen Latifah,
Mm.
and you realize that black is not a monolith.
No.
And what does that say about God
Oh.
and how God no God spoke to the all of these people,
Mhm.
um, so much so that they brought their theology to music.
Yeah. I think number one, and you've heard me say this a billion times, is one of the aspects of God's nature that I'm fascinated with is immanence, right? Like the
Mm,
closeness of God. Like why, you know, um, in the gospel story, it talks about Jesus as a baby being known as Emmanuel,
mm,
God with us. Like, what is it about God that, you know, the deists, for example, those who, deism was a popular frame of thought in the 1700s, and they believe that the creator made everything like a wonderful watch, right? Like all of creation was like a well-made watch that was sort of set, and then the creator stepped back. But what is it about the understanding of God through Jesus that says no? Like in fact, God got in the midst of everything and didn't choose to go to a palace, didn't choose to go into the lap of luxury, but was born in the hood in an oppressed area, right?
mhm,
An area where rights were hard to come by. And that Jesus spent time with people who were, living their lives as Howard Thurman describes, with their backs against the wall. All of that points to, for me, an understanding of God really desires to use anybody.
mhm,
That if God were playing pickup, God wouldn't get the people who look like they played ball in college or look like they hoop all the time. God would run with people who were clumsy, like were messing up, dribbling with two hands, all of that.
mm,
And that's who God would choose to run with. And so how that translates to these MCs that you've mentioned is that people don't look, generally speaking, they look at rappers with so much more criticism than they do inspiration. Like young folks are inspired by MCs and sometimes inspired by rappers in ways that aren't necessarily edifying, right? Like you're like, oh, I wish my body looked like their body, or I had as much money as they have, or I had as many girls as they were pulling, or I had as many cars as they have. All these things that aren't necessarily like meaningful and substantive, right? So when rappers are saying things that are deep and profound, people sometimes jump over it because they don't expect it to come from these sources. And a big part of this project is knowing from my theological journey as a minister and having listened to rap since I first heard "You Can't Touch This" on the radio back in like 1991 or whenever that was, and just being in love with the genre and more in love with the culture. I know that God has spoken to me through rappers. I know that God has spoken to me through MCs.
mm,
And so being able to demonstrate through these episodes the ways in which these MCs are saying incredible things that need to be wrestled with
mm.
because they're on particular journeys of great meaning and great depth that can inspire folks who have felt like the church and maybe even God has left them to the side. And I firmly believe that God has so much to say to people if we're willing to listen to the folks that God has sent to speak to us.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. If Rhapsody and her experiences could be summarized in one of the gospel songs, great gospel songs of the past,
Ooh,
what song would that be?
oh, why my mind went to a Clark Sisters song.
Of course, of course.
So maybe like Balm and Gilead or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Um, Yeah, because I feel like Rapsody, and we talked about this with Queen Latifah as well. And maybe it's just like the nurturing ways of their particular personalities. Not saying, y'all, that every woman's gonna be a nurturing person. I'm not saying that, but these two sisters, I believe that they are. And I think Rhapsody's music, I mean, you hear it in the song Offending, especially, is really trying to heal.
Yeah.
Is really aimed at healing, right? Like she easily, because of how she's described how she's been treated, could be on some like, I don't like these other women, men are worthless type energy, but that's not what she's on. She's trying to uplift sisters, and she's trying to say, brother, like, hey, we need each other. Let's work together. I just think that's such a beautiful orientation to have, in spite of all the pain you have. And I believe in what Henry Nouwen calls like the wounded healer. And I think about what it means to walk with a limp, like Jacob did after he wrestled with God. What does it mean to sort of love people who have hurt you and to love people who have wounded you, and not in some sort of like Stockholm syndrome, I'm just gonna continue to aid and abet my abuser, but in a way that calls that person to a better way, into a better path. I just think Rhapsody's incredibly inspiring.
Calls that person in a better way to a better path, and also teaches a person how to walk with a limp,
Yeah, 100%.
which is not always easy.
Not at all.
Anything else you'd like to say about Rhapsody, and what album do you think folks should start out with if they're
Oh,
listening to
I mean, my favorite is Eve, right? But Layla's Wisdom is incredible. Um, yeah, I would start like if I have to, with this short attention span world that we're in, go ahead and listen to Eve. I think that's her best work. I think it's a really special album. I like the song Eve Tahaj because I like how she got Jizza and the late great D'Angelo on it. And yeah, I think that's a good album to sort of like prove the concept. I'll put it that way.
I can't believe we're saying late great.
Late great, man.
But I did see Lauryn Hill is going to do
Yes.
a tribute for
Yeah.
him and
Roberta Flack. That's right. That's right. So
at the Grammys this coming week. So
look
y'all
forward to that.
watch the Grammys. Let us know if you
Catch that
catch
tribute.
that tribute. But before, listen to the Lauryn Hill
Mm-hmm.
episode.
Yeah.
Before we go, you always give a hint to who's coming, which artist is coming next week.
Ooh. This artist had cafeteria tables in the 2000s making music. I'm sure this artist had the folks who were assigned lunchroom duty going nuts telling people to stop making that beat. Because that beat, if you were in any middle school, high school, maybe even elementary school, I was in high school at the time, but if you were in middle school, if you were in school,
I was in middle school.
and you had a lunchroom table and you like rap, you made this beat or you heard this beat.
Yeah.
And they are icons.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yeah.
And you'll find out why next week.
That's right.
So thank you again for watching the recap. Like I said, if you haven't listened to any of the Theology of Hip-Hop, it is available on all podcasting platforms. And also the Presbyterian Outlook, who is working with us with the Theology of Hip-Hop.
Yeah. Shout out to the Outlook. I appreciate their support so much in all of this. Yeah, this is one of those things where it's beautiful to have mutuality and be able to come together and work on something. So just want to give the Presbyterian Outlook some love and shout them out. We
are eager to hear from you. So if you have any questions, any suggestions, any like, oh my gosh, I actually like this song or I think this, we want to be in conversation with you. So reach out to BaddestChaplain.
Yeah.
And we'll get back to you.
Yeah, man.
Y'all be safe. Don't slip on this ice.
Don't slip on this ice. Not playing. It's not playing. All right. Love y'all.